tell us where you're from and how long you've been in the business. And you know, if you're a solo agent like I am, Jose, or you've got a small team, give us the
Hey
deets on
Ben,
that.
thank you so much. And I know like I was thinking I'm like it was a couple of years ago and I think it was in Austin where we were trying to schedule this and I got to meet you. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Destiny, for all the coordination and follow-up. So I'm originally from Puerto Rico, born and raised. So that's why I will always have an accent and I'm proud of my accent. I came
Absolutely.
to Miami in 27 years ago and I started real estate in 2003. So this November, it's going to be 23 years, exactly half of my life doing real estate. I have a small team. It's me. I just hired a director of operations about 2 months ago. I have a showing assistant, a transaction coordinator, and a virtual assistant.
Nice, nice. Um, what did you guys do last year? And are you on pace this year, or you're a little behind, or even, or you're scaling up?
So last year was our best year. We had 32 units. We did 47 million. And 742 in GCI. This year we are behind on our goal, but how I see it, I'm ahead. I'm ahead because I'm having my time back. I have done some traveling this year. I've been taking care of some of my family members. Um, so sometime last year was all about the business. This year is for me is more about personal, taking care of myself. You got to put the oxygen mask first before you're able to take over. So others. So sometimes you got to
Indeed.
go backwards in
Indeed.
order to go
Well, and
forward.
again, I
So
think there's nothing wrong with that because I'm in the exact same position right now. It's funny. I'm scaling up a little, and I've run my numbers. I'm basically 4 units ahead of where I was last year through half of the year. I'll take that. I take care of my dad. So I've gotten where I don't work on Saturdays, Sundays, and now Mondays, and half the day on Thursday. And you know what? It kind of excites me a little because it makes me more focused. When I work, I got to work, right?
yep.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong. I think we're blessed to be able to take care of, you know, family, and that's for me. That's success. That's success, regardless of whether the unit total is up or down. Right now, you're blessed to be in that position. So,
And you know that I love how you said it, Ben, because success is can be defined in different ways for different people. And
amen.
sometimes in this industry, unfortunately,
Yes,
many of us are always looking what the next person is doing. And I'm
yes,
like, okay, I'm not successful because that person is doing more volume, more money than me, or that person is doing better than me. But for me, success is like 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, both of my parents fell, and I found out at 12 o'clock. By 2 o'clock, I was on a one-way ticket to Puerto Rico, and I was with them by 6 o'clock. And that was my priority. That was my one thing. And if the business, something will happen to the business for me, God gave me an opportunity and gave another chance to both of my parents because both of them could have not been here by this conversation. So, uh,
yes.
sometime we had to, one of the things that I did last year, and again, I share it was my best year last year. One, because I had my biggest sale, but two, I was just laser focused. I decided to don't pay attention to the noise or what was happening around me.
Right.
Um, and I always say, winners focus on winning, the loser focus on the winner. And sometimes we can hear all the noise of what's happening in the market, what somebody else is doing. But at the end of the day, winning is different from you than even people in your own office.
That's right. Well, again, that's a powerful message. So, what's crazy is I got a text from a friend of mine who's coming through Puerto Rico today, and I told her that you were on today. So I think it's a weird coincidence. Plus, we we travel for Christmas because the holidays are kind of difficult for our family. So we pick a destination, and last Christmas we were in your country. We were in San Juan. Yeah.
And I bet you that you experience a different type of Christmas because I mean, one of the things that I miss living here is Christmas in Puerto Rico. And
Yeah.
you were there, so you can talk about it.
All
but
right.
it's one of the very special places, and I'm glad you went to our country to
And
for
would
such
go
a
back
special moment.
and would truly go back. Uh, we had such a great time, and it's interesting. Here in Dallas was warm, and the weather in San Juan was really warm. So it was very unique to be on a beach and shorts and t-shirts for Christmas. But I think the culture, the hospitality was just amazing. I'd recommend it to everyone. So a beautiful, beautiful people. So and you're a beautiful soul, my brother. So I appreciate that. So let's get into just a little business. And here's a crazy question because I'll throw you a softball and then I'm going
Okay,
to hit you
I'm
with a
ready.
curveball or two, right? Okay, so this first question is, and you mentioned you had your biggest sale last year, right? Again, you've worked with luxury, homeowners in Miami. You've worked with underserved communities around the world. So, what's something that you've learned, say, from Uganda and Honduras about wealthy people in Miami that they desperately need to understand? So, you've worked with here, the high, the low. What do people in, especially luxury owners in Miami, what's something that they need to understand?
Well, it's interesting because tomorrow I'm actually having my lowest price point sale. So
Okay.
it's a probate of a small condo. Uh, but one thing I realized, especially in the last 2 or 3 years that I have targeted in luxury, is like one, there are people like us. And sometimes we just see these people, oh my God, like I just don't have the wealth that they have. But ultimately, what they're looking for is someone that they can trust, someone that have the knowledge, and someone that at the end of the day is going to execute on whatever they say they were going to do. Um, so for me, it's like when I see a client, I'm going to treat them as it is my best client, independently of what the price point it is.
Mm,
Because I might be dealing with a low price point client, but guess what? That client knows all the people that know the people that have money. So sometimes we have to be very careful trying to judge the book by the cover because my biggest sale, interesting enough, it was about this time of the year, around July, that we got a call on a Sunday. I don't work on Sunday, so I didn't return the call until Monday, and it was actually the captain of the ship of the boat of the client that actually ended up purchasing the property. And in my mind, when he called me, he actually left me a message in Spanish. And here I am, like already judging me because by nature we tend to judge people. And then I'm like, well, this guy is probably he was with some friends on a boat this weekend and he saw this big sign on the water. He wanted to find out about this water ball. Little to know, he was a captain and he was a gatekeeper for this client who ended up purchasing the house. So there are people like us. So just build that trust. Uh, Understand that you have to have knowledge of the market that they're looking to purchase. And guess what? They might purchase a luxury property now with you, but down the road they might want to purchase an investment property. So you never know. And always keep in mind, don't run over the gatekeepers for that client.
hmm I love that. I love it. So here's another one. Okay, so again, you're Puerto Rican, and you've worked across, many cultures. Has there ever been a moment when your greatest business advantage came from embracing who you are instead of someone else's definition of success?
Hmm. I feel like I'm in Miss Universe now. Can you repeat that
Yes,
question one more
absolutely.
time?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Again, because you've worked across so many different cultures, what's your greatest business advantage that's come from embracing who you are? And I would say who you are being that Puerto Rican culture of I think of family and vibrance, right? Instead of someone else's definition of success. And I think you've kind of touched on it already, right? Because I think, you know, Others in Miami might look at, selling all these luxury properties, 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. And here it is, you're about to complete maybe your smallest sale ever. And yet, I think you'll probably be as thrilled uh, selling a small property as you were selling a multi-million dollar property. I know it's a multifaceted question.
No, no, but here's the first thing that I think of, Ben, is my core values don't change. About putting God first,
Amen.
then family, then business. And I go back to that luxury listing, and because I took so many lessons of that listing. So we have in South Florida, between Miami and Broward, which are the two counties, we had about 57, 60,000 realtors at the time. And right now, actually, all two boards combined with Palm Beach. So right now, between Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach County, we are the largest association in the world with 92,000 members. The Miami Association of Realtors with our work. And I remember I got the chance to interview for this luxury listing. And I was competing with the number one agent for the entire county. He had been in business for 40 years, had a team of like 10 at the time. Um, and I felt that okay, this is a once in a lifetime. By the way, for those of you who are wondering, it was a $15 million property.
Oh, nice.
And going in, I knew that I I couldn't change to be the person who I am with my values, putting God first. I prayed through that entire process from the pre-listing process to the listing process. And I remember, to make the long story short, I end up getting the listing. And I remember when I talked to the client about it, he go like, one thing is like, I know I could trust you. And he brought the word trust.
Hmm.
Trust can take months, weeks, years, and it can be lost in seconds. Uh, because we had done another transaction the year prior, like I was able to earn that trust. And number two, he said, I knew that you were capable of getting the job done and that you were going to work harder than that other agent because that other agent had been the number one agent in the entire county. He got 20 at the time. I think he got like 20 other properties that they were going from like 10 million to like 50 million.
Wow.
So he knew I was going to work harder than any of the other realtors out there. So I think I don't sell my values. For me, being honest, my ethics, the integrity, and that's something that in this business, unfortunately, it can be sold at any point.
100%.
But for me, they're non-negotiable, and I would say that God have backed me up 100% of the time.
That's a powerful message. Be who you are, and irrespective of the dollar amount, because I like you, I've had an opportunity for large listings, small listings, and I am who I am. And I tell folks, you know what, I'm not cheap, but I'm fair. And I think sometimes the most expensive lesson we ever learn is going cheap. Is
Yeah.
going cheap, right? So, thanks for that message. Now, here's an easy
I'm
one.
gonna I'm gonna share something with
Yeah.
you.
Hmm.
Don't say that you're fair. You're valuable.
Yeah. Thank you. Indeed. I am. I am. So are you. I appreciate you sharing
Thank
that.
you.
Be honest. Now, your success, how much it comes from your skill, and then how much of it comes from being one of the best dressed guys in Miami?
Thank you so much. You know, Ben, is something that I had to learn several years ago. First impression matters, and it matters a lot. The moment that we walk into any place, we're always judging people. And if it was for me, I would be in jeans, a t-shirt, and a flip-flop.
Mm,
Uh, but several years ago, I realized that in this industry, especially in a city like Miami, that
yes.
looks matters a lot. I realized that the moment I walk out of my door, I am lead generating. And people are going to judge me immediately before I open my mouth by the way that I look. When I started this industry 20, almost 23 years ago, I was 22 turning 23, and I looked very young. And people would not take me serious because I looked very young. Actually, I let this grow 23 years ago, and I hadn't caught it because I looked very young. And I remember that I would talk to people over the phone, and they would see my knowledge because as soon as I got into the business, I was like a sponge, talking to everyone, all the classes that were on the board from the office. And then people would show up to the office. I'm like, they thought I was the grandkid or the son of the realtor they've been talking to. Um, but here's the thing with them, they realize, well, I'm the same person that spoke to you over the phone that provided knowledge and experience. Now you're looking at me physically and I look very young. But I realized a couple of years ago that in my area, my industry, I had to look professional. I had to look successful. I had to look knowledgeable. So if I already have the knowledge part, the experience part, uh, when I show up, I had to show up like I'm the best person. So for me, it's like when I walk out of the door of my house, I'm lead generating, and people are gonna judge me. Uh, so even though I would love to be in jeans every day, I feel like this is part of my brand. This is part of my business. This is part of the industry I live in. And I know the cities. I've
Yes.
been to Hawaii and I see how realtors in Hawaii works. I'm like, I wish I would be wearing shorts on the Bermuda
Yes.
and that. But it's just like you had to dress apart to
Yes.
your industry in the city that you live in.
I agree. I agree. And it's interesting being in San Diego, they wear docksiders and shorts. And I'm like, I've never, I've never put on shorts with a client, even when I was showing my
Same.
best friend. One, I got long, skinny legs, but
Is it
it
because
is what
of
it
the
is.
skinny legs or because of
I think because even with friends and family, I'm still the
Yep.
professional. And I didn't want them to be cheated through the process at all because of our relationship. So, um, like you,
And it's very interesting that you also say that because those friends, they know people that are wealthy. And will they feel comfortable referring you as their friend if you're wearing shorts when you're with them? So for me, it's been the same. Like I haven't shown property ever in short, and I'm not saying it's nothing
right?
wrong with showing property because I know agents that are very successful. But in our area, we work in big cities, both you and I. So we had to understand that this is the culture of our business.
Yeah. Okay. So, this is a great transition into this question. What's the most expensive lesson you've learned while trying to look successful before you actually were?
Hmm. Just putting your ego aside. Um, There has been time, and even with that big deal in the negotiation process, I put my ego in the way, and I it would have cost me uh, over $400,000 uh, for not being humble and putting my ego aside. And when I realized, thank God, it was not too late for me to recognize, have the conversation with the client, and realizing that I let my ego and emotions and sometimes our ego gets in the way. Um, and we just had to send our ego on a trip
I love it. Send it, pack the bags, get out of here,
and
right?
don't come back and don't come back.
Right. Well, I think that uh, I thought when I was thinking about that question, I thought sometimes we have to fake it till we make it. And I don't know if that's always the case today. I think, you talked about when you first started, and I mean, you were just a sponge. And I think today that's what it takes in order uh, to learn and grow and eventually get on top and realizing this is a marathon, not a sprint. And you're not going to learn it all at once. But I think that you were building solid foundations. And thank goodness, as a young person, you still had patience because I know I'm being general, but right now I've just noticed that many young people that I know, they don't have they don't have that patience. They want it now, instant gratification. And an old head like myself realizes that, man, this is a process, right? I guess this is progress over perfection. You just have to keep one step in front of another. And then all of a sudden you look up and you go, holy crap, I've been in this now for 38 years, right? And I've enjoyed damn near every step along the way. And I tell people in all my years, there's only been
I think did he freeze or Destiny?
Yeah, he froze. I'm texting him right now.
Okay, don't worry. Well, I shared something along the lines what he was talking about, and you know, coming as a young realtor and understanding that I needed to learn as much as I could from people like from the realtor, the top producers, the managers, and all that. And even 23 years later, I'm always learning base. I mean, I think I don't know it all. And I always think that bringing even knowledge from people that are just new in the industry, that they're bringing a different perspective. But I think ultimately, it's just being learning based all the time. And not only that, I'm learning from someone that has been 38 years in the business, but even from an agent that is new in the business that know everything about AI and how can I provide some value to that person and that person can provide value to him. Are you back, Ben?
I am. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but it is what it is. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Well, thanks. Sounds like you were able to at least get enough of that and answer that question. So, uh,
Yes.
thanks for bearing with me. And it's crazy because my it says it's like I'm trying to connect over here, but I just jumped on my phone quickly because we've only got, I don't know, probably 10 minutes or less. So, um, again, thanks for your patience there. Uh, Let me ask you this: with let's say your humanitarian efforts and your missionary work, where did that come from? And is there a group that you work through?
So I would say that I've been doing missionary work since early on in my life. I've been traveling on missions internationally since like 2006. I have done about 10 countries. I have done through my church, through other local nonprofit organizations. I had done through some big organizations as well in the US. Um, but I would say that my passion is part of my big why. So when I have seen a need and I have seen an organization locally, I get to partner with them and just do something about it. I shared an experience 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was in Roatan, Honduras, teaching the one thing. And kind of like one of the requirements that I asked them is like, I want to be able to give back to a local organization. So they found an organization that they have partnered with before with kids. And then, when I got there, we brought toys, we spent some time with the kids. Um, so it's part of me, it's part of my big why. So whether it's something locally or something within the US or when I go internationally, I just partner with them. One of the things that living in Puerto Rico and understanding the situation with the hurricanes, I would say that I understood firsthand about living and everything changing overnight. So in the last couple of years, because I live here in South Florida, I've been part of the task force for a region when the hurricane had come. And so we've been able to do something also here within the US and some of the countries that I have experienced a hurricane hit. So, but I would say whether you partner with someone locally or within the country, just see what you're passionate about, whether you're passionate about kids, elders, adult, pets, just find something that you're passionate about, and then just find an organization that you want to do something with.
I love that. Again, it's giving back. I think when you have a servant's heart, it affects your business in such a positive way. And we don't necessarily, I mean, you don't do it because you understand there's a benefit business wise that comes from it. I think it makes your heart smile. And because it makes your heart smile, you know what? It benefits all of those around you, including you. And then you know what? Sometimes there is a benefit that comes via business. And but that wasn't the intent. That's the reason why it comes.
Yeah.
That's the reason why it comes. So I think here's, unless I glitch up again, I think this is a great transition because you have, I mean, you've worked in humanitarian efforts. You know, I think on the surface, it appears that you have a very successful life. And I would say that there is a difference between a successful life and a meaningful life. When did you realize the difference between the two? Was it at a young age, or it's been because of, you know, the last 20 plus years in real estate, you've made that transition, you've gone from success to significance. Was there a moment, or was there an age, was there a period?
Yes, 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 yes. And I go back to 2010. I had just turned 30 and I became bankrupt and I lost everything. I I had been with Keller Williams for a year, lost everything, came to Christ the year before, and I was done with real estate. Uh, and I remember it was December of 2010. The operating principal of the office kind of like knew my journey about coming to Christ and wanting to like fulfill God's will in my life. But I was done with real estate. And I remember she said, "Do you know the core values of Keller Williams?" I'm like, "Susie, honestly, no, I've been here for like a year and a half." She was like, "God, family, then business." I just think like Ben, you walk into a room and it's like pitch dark and you just come and turn the lights. That's what she did for me. And I said to her, I remember the same exact words. I said, "So that means that I can say God through my job?" And she's like, "Absolutely." And I will say that conversation changed everything because now I get to serve God through my job. And I was actually sharing this with someone on Saturday night. And I said, real estate is the vehicle that God uses to bless me financially so I can fulfill my purpose in life. And then the question I ask you, if you're listening to me, what does real estate represent for you? Because it's not about closing homes, opening doors, and all that. It's like, what are you using this business and this career to fulfill what in your life? And for me, is that, and I would say that change. I got out of the bankruptcy in a year. So by 2011, I went from making $30,000 a year to like $104,000 the following year. And then it's been better ever since.
That is such a powerful testimony. I think that's a great place to end it. And I think it just it illustrates that, you know, struggle isn't definite or finite. You can work your way out of that. And it's interesting that was you mentioned 2010 because that was the year also for me. That was my toughest year in real estate. Uh, I was fortunate to be able to get through it. And the interesting thing is, the only way my wife wasn't working. I had two young boys who I didn't want to have them sacrifice anything. So, you know, dad just kept his head down. And I had gone from making, it's crazy, I was making roughly around $250,000 a year. I fell all the way down to 99. And yet we still vacation. My boys did all the camps. And the only way I got through it was through Keller Williams and my profit share. Because I had my profit share money, it just went into a private account and I never spent that money. That helped me get through that year. And after 2010 and 2011, we were back, you know, um, on the rise. And we haven't looked back. We haven't looked back. So thank you for sharing that, because I think there's valuable lessons there, and just not quitting. And again, if you're a person of faith, and you are, and I am, you've got to trust that He won't put you through anything that you can't handle, and you'll come out of it stronger, uh, and I think more passionate, and your heart will be served, and those around you will be blessed. So, my brother, thank you for blessing us today. Because
Thank you.
again, the time moves so quick, and I think I'm sure we've learned something, even minus the minute or two I was away. You've shared some things. You've shared your heart, and Jose, I appreciate that. I can't wait to hopefully get a chance to see you at Mega Camp or family
Yes.
reunion.